first of all, I'm very passionate about the whole technology and innovation agenda in terms of the work that takes place in academia, but also the very important work that takes place in industry. How you take that research and pull that through into exploitation, how you create value not only for industry but for UK-IRC.
Well, I think I've been particularly motivated to get involved in the task force, actually probably due to a number of things happening at the moment, but many of them are about innovation. And innovation for my company, which survives on innovation and has partnered with people in innovation, but is particularly interested in the way innovation in our local market, the UK, is actually going to grow and develop over the next number of years. So the marrying of innovation with research and development and how those can work better is clearly a key issue, and I think we've got a role to play in that, and hopefully I can contribute to it.
The question really that occurred to us was, tough times are coming. How do we make sure we make the most of what we've got here in the UK and maintain the vibrancy of this system, because it supports us as well as the nation more generally?
Well, I guess I spent 8 years as a minister, and I originally started as Minister of Science, and then after a bit I decided what I really wanted to be was Minister of Science and Innovation. So I reckon I've been talking about this particular agenda now for nearly 12, 13 years, and as with all these things, you achieve a certain amount, but there's a lot left undone. And I think this particular working group can really take it on and give it another push forward.
Very often, particularly in universities, research is focused on disciplines. And the solutions to problems require people to work across disciplines. So we've got to find a way in the UK to really promote interdisciplinary working and to get that firmly on the agenda.
I think it's about bringing together some of the people who are the influencers and can speak for the perspectives of both universities and business to kind of set the big scene. But also I think it's about getting different cultures and views together.
Well, I think, there's a lot of very high-profile individuals, research directors from different big companies in the UK, and it's really getting a chance to talk to them, find out what the big industries in the UK need and want, and also explaining maybe some of the problems from the academic side and how we work together to actually maximise the output that comes from the UK in research.
I think this whole question of how the innovation system works is immensely interesting, and there are certainly some parts of this where I think there's a real opportunity to take this forward. This is particularly on the kind of intermediate bodies, the technology and innovation centres, the knowledge transfer networks. So it's what are the kind of organisations which take the basic research and moves it through the innovation system to applied research. I don't think we've done enough of that, and there's some real opportunities to move that forward.
Where do we really stack up well? Where are we not so strong, perhaps? But also, how does it vary by sector? Is pharma the same as energy, the same as software or something? Or are there big differences as to how this can really work well in the UK? And hopefully we can make policy recommendations at the end of all this as to how you really make the most of what the UK has already got. If you like, how do you sustain a good thing? It's not as if we're trying to solve a problem here. We're trying to make sure we make the most of what we've got.
The key immediate challenge is deciding exactly how to focus the questions, and are we going to choose particular industrial areas, or are we going to keep this as broad as we can? We've got lots of great ideas, and the other challenge is working out how we say something that's useful to the UK innovation framework in the international context, because we've heard on many occasions over the course of the afternoon how we cannot see the UK innovation framework outside of its context more broadly.
I think the key challenge is to distill the questions that we've looked at today and focus on a small number that you can really add some new insight into, and that hit both the priorities of the research councils and the researchers and the priorities of UK PLC.
The kind of issues that have been identified today are precisely the kind of issues that we want to look at. Cultural issues: do we have the right attitudes to entrepreneurship and risk? Do we have the right structures in the way we fund things? How do we pull through from fundamental research to applied research? All those issues are ones that we want to address in a government paper in the autumn.
Well, I think I'm overwhelmed by the possibilities there are in the task force. I think the key challenge is to pick off the areas where there'll be a high return, the key questions where we really can influence events, and I think distilling what's happened today will enable that to happen.
Well, I think the task force can have a significant impact, but I think as long as that impact isn't simply creating a report. I mean, a report's a good thing to have, and you know, it's a useful addition to the general knowledge base. But I think more importantly is that the outcomes that are actually articulated in that report are actually taken into action. So I think this work group here itself and the task force overall, in its capability to actually take this forward as an agenda item, to be advocates, to be champions of it, is as important as the report itself, because that's the collateral, if you will, you'll use to actually have those discussions.
Well, we've got a lot of focus on a number of fronts at the moment on how the UK can get the best out of its research and innovation. We know the government are thinking about it. We know that Tim Wilson has been asked to write a report about research and innovation. And so this can help inform that and act as a sounding board here. Very well informed industrial partners, very well informed university people who can act as a sounding board for that.